Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracey.
Good evening.
This week we're talking about movies released between July 6th and July 12th. We're talking about Butterflies Are Free, Used Cars, Whitewater Summer, Point Break, Forrest Gump,
Jen A.
American Pie, The Kid, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Side note, we are going to be talking about these movies in detail, so spoilers ahead, A. And B, I probably sound terrible. I'm a little sick, got a bit of a head cold to say the least, and so if I sound as bad as I do, I apologize.
You sound fine.
Thank you.
You sound fine. It's just a little cold.
I am hypercritical of the way I sound, especially in this kind of situation. So this week, we decided to see Butterflies Are Free, Whitewater Summer. We saw all these movies. We saw all of them. But there was 3 that we could not finish going through all the way through. We tried watching American Pie and The Kid. Neither of us really wanted to go through past half an hour of each of them. Actually, The Kid, we only saw 14 minutes. We're like, we're done. We're good to hear.
It was just too boring.
I mean, The Kid was really boring, which is disappointing because it seemed like a really good premise. And American Pie was just... If I was younger, it would be funnier. It's just bad. It's just really bad, to say the least.
Yeah.
We're past our prime when it comes to the demographic.
We thought American Pie would go inside with 4th of July, but no. It was really bad.
No.
No.
When they mentioned that what apple pie is like, I'm like, no, I'm good.
And we knew what the premise was, but we thought it would be funnier, but it was not.
Yeah.
Yep.
We also watched a little bit over halfway through of Used Cars. Used Cars was a film. It was Robert Zemeckis' first professional film that came out before Back to the Future, and this was a film that he was very passionate about. That he wrote it with Bob Gale, who ended up doing Back to the Future together with too. This was a passion project of his. I was always very morbidly curious to watch it because I've heard about this movie a lot and that it prevented him from being considered sooner for future films. And I got curious, what was this movie about? Was it really that bad? For the most part, I don't think actually it was that bad.
It had some rough moments.
It does definitely have rough moments. It starred Kurt Russell,
yes,
who was actually really good in it.
He's very good in it.
It's got a lot of good moments in it, but it's bogged down by its own humor.
It's really rough.
It's very black comedy crazy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate its comedic style. I think you did too, but it was too much.
It's got some rough moments.
Yeah.
It's got some rough moments.
So we felt that we kind of finished what we decided we were done with what we've seen at that point too. I wouldn't call it a bad movie, but it's not an easy watch.
No.
But we're going to move on to the movies that we actually saw all the way through this week. First up is Butterflies Are Free. It was released July 6, 1972, directed by Milton Katselas, and written by Leonard Gersh, who did Funny Face, a musical comedy starring Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire. A 19-year-old actress meets a blind man by becoming her next-door neighbor in an apartment in San Francisco. They fall in love over a short period of time and teach each other about acceptance, tolerance, life after love, and more. Goldie Hawn and Edward Albert star in this film, along with a supporting role of Eileen Eckhart.
Yes, this was a very intriguing film. It shows you life in San Francisco back in the early 70s and sort of free love and that type of feeling. And Goldie Hawn was so cute back then. And Edward Albert was Eddie Albert's son and very handsome. And he played a blind man. He didn't have glasses on. He walks around...
no seeing eye dog. He just knows his apartment. He was in his apartment for a month, and he just knows it like the back of his hand.
Yeah, and he knows how to get around in the area where he lived by recognition. And he didn't have a blind man's stick. He didn't want people knowing he was blind, which was intriguing. And my sister was crazy about this film. I remember her saying she loved this film. And I remember seeing it when I was real young. For some reason.
I had never heard of this movie before. And then, I also didn't know that it was based off, it's a screen adaptation of a play. And the play was directed and written by the same people. Milton Katselas, or I hope I'm saying his name right, he directed the original production. And the only thing that they seriously changed, from what I could tell, was that the setting took place in New York City. And instead, this takes place in San Francisco. And the original writer is Leonard Gersh. He originally wrote the play. So this was pretty much a shot-for-shot adaptation from the original people who did this production. So it definitely felt like it was written like a play. I didn't really do too much research into the movie before watching it, but I knew quickly on this is definitely based off some kind of play, and I'm glad my instincts were correct.
Yeah, it was. I think it was really well done, showing acting for Goldie Hawn early on, as well as Edward Albert. And what's shocking, that the research that you did while we were watching it, was that the only person who won an Academy Award for this movie was the mother who played Edward Albert's mother. Mm-hmm. And
which is really shocking to me. Not to say that she didn't deserve it, but I thought she did. I thought she did good. I think that other people could have played her character a little bit better, but I think she did good for the role.
Yeah, but the
real stars were Edward Albert and Goldie Hawn. They really were. Edward Albert. There were times, and I say this more critically as an actor. And I don't mean this in a way like I could have done it better, but I mean this as just watching an actor. There's parts where it's easy for me to point out and notice that he's not blind, and that he's able to catch things that no blind person should be able to catch. But that's not exactly his fault. Like, he can't do anything about that. It's pure instinct. As a seeing person, to see these things, I think at times it's kind of hard to portray a blind man, unless you're actually blind, to be able to not catch things as easily. But he did a good job really playing off as much as he could what it was actually like being blind. And Goldie Hawn, I think she did a great portrayal. And this is one of the better things I've seen her in, where she plays somebody who's really passionate and really energetic. And she very much is like a butterfly, where she just goes from place to place to place without a care in the world. And it really reflects off of real life in my viewpoint.
But I think that he also showed he's supposed to be blind from birth. Mm-hmm. And there were some really deep moments between them. And she spoke about how she had been married since she was at 16, and it was hard on her, and how she didn't want to be, in a deep relationship, and that's why it's called Butterflies Are Free. But then she fell in love with him really quickly, and she loved that he was, such a caring, loving person.
What I really appreciated was that it really did feel like she was falling for him as a person, and it was different from the other times she's fallen for other men in the past, or boys, because at that point she was 19. It really felt like she was falling in love with him as a person, and that's something I really appreciated, because it felt very natural. It felt like something that was right with her character. And she didn't feel sorry for him. No, and at first she did, but he taught her not to feel sorry for him. Yeah, and it really opened her eyes, and in a way, she also opened his eyes to being able to find love again, because he'd been through love and loss before as well. Everything felt natural, especially near the end. To me, the ending was really what brought everything together and brought tension, where you saw everybody's point of view. Eileen Eckhart plays, she plays the mother of the blind man, and she's very resistant about the relationship because she's afraid of her son getting hurt, and it's being blind. There's a lot that goes into it. Go see the movie yourself, or watch the play if you can. And there's a lot of little nuances and things. I've read a lot of 1970s plays. A lot of them I can't sit through. This one I was able to sit through pretty well, and it really shows the talent that the writing team and the actors worked on together. I remember watching it as a younger girl, and I enjoyed it, and I still enjoyed it at my age now. Mm-hmm. It was still eye-opening of the acting ability between those. What would you give it out of 5 stars? I give it a 4. I give it a 3.5. I think there were some times where it did feel too confined to its own stage space, where it could have been expanded. But, I really admire the acting and how they put everything together. Kind of reminds me of The Odd Couple.
Yeah. I told you mine and Neil Simon.
Yeah, very much like
Simon
that.
play.
Great. Let's going to move on.
Okay.
We're going to move on to Whitewater Summer. This was released July 10th, 1987. It was directed by Jeff Bleckner, and it was written by Ernest Kinoy and Manya Starr. A group of teenage boys are led through the great outdoors by an experienced camping expert who takes the trip and the experience a bit too seriously. This is a sleeper movie. It's celebrating a 38th anniversary. And this was something that I didn't expect. Neither of us really expected it. You've seen it before once.
I saw it. I saw it. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw it I turned it on during some rainy day, and I was shocked how good this film was. I never heard of it before, and it was years and years and years and years ago. So I don't even remember when it was. It was a long time ago, right after it probably come out.
Before going into details, I gotta say, this is one of a perfect example of a film that doesn't, that people either never heard of, or this was critically blasted by both the box office and by critics. This was considered a very mediocre to bad film, and this is an example that not, everybody's a critic. Don't always listen to the critics and the box office reception. Sometimes great movies are just great, and you're never going to know it until you actually see it for yourself.
When I saw it, I said, wow, this is a pretty good film. And I did see it from the beginning. I saw it maybe 15 minutes after it started. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't take my eyes off it. I had to keep watching it to see what else was going to happen.
So it stars Kevin Bacon, who doesn't know who Kevin Bacon is at this point, and also stars Sean Astin. And Sean Astin, and he was a big character in The Goonies. He was also really big as Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings. He was so great in Lord of the Rings. And he's been in other stuff too, of course. But
there's other teenagers on this trip.
Right. And Sean Astin plays this little nerdy kid who doesn't want to go out to the outdoors, and his dad's kind of making him go, and his mom's like, yeah, whatever you want, sweetie. The dad's you gotta...
They're from New York.
Yeah, they're from New York, and Kevin Bacon is a very experienced outdoor camper. He does this for a living, where he takes boys out and makes them men, and by making them do really great outdoorsy things, like climbing things, doing whitewater rafting, kayaking, serious stuff. And he teaches them how to become wilderness explorers and survive in the great outdoors. And it's a really good program. And
first of all, he just shows them a few pictures, the parents, in the beginning of the movie,
and they
just to enjoy the great outdoors, not to do anything dangerous, just to show them the great outdoors and to have them lay out at night and camp. Okay, just to go camping and to enjoy the great outdoors. That's the scenario.
I recall some of the dialogue, Kevin Bacon saying that this will really, help your boy get closer to becoming a man. You'll be able to see the growth and the change after a couple weeks, and you can see we're having a good time. We're smiling in these pictures.
Yeah, but he doesn't tell them that they're going to be rock climbing. He doesn't tell them that. No. He saves
that for the real boys. And I didn't know, from my years of watching these kind of movies, I'm expecting him to go full on psycho, really weird, insane, kind of crazy.
Well, I told you. I said it should have been called Whitewater Psycho.
Yeah, so you also hyped that up for me, that he's going to become an insane, he's going to be like a psycho killer, and they're going to have to run away from him.
I just said psycho.
But you're seeing me when I think psycho, I think he's going to become a predator facing prey.
Well, from my memory, he does go a little psycho. He goes a little off the edge.
Yeah, a little bit near the end, and that's the kind of thing that I like about it, is that for the most of the movie, he's very reasonable with these kids. Although, that's what I think is pretty funny, is that when we're watching the movie, you're going, I can't believe he would leave him. I can't believe they would do that. And I'm thinking to myself, the kid made a mistake. He's got to learn. They make mistakes throughout the film, throughout their experience in the great outdoors, and all these kids are just either not living up to his expectations.
But making him cross that bridge, that was so dangerous. That
But at the end of the day, what you're saying is that, like, I can't believe he's making him do that. That's cruel, and that's that. And I'm thinking to myself, and I tell it too.
But he leaves him by himself. You don't leave a kid by themselves, or anybody.
Yeah,
not
but
a kid.
yes,
a
but
person.
honestly, I kind of vouch for him for like a good chunk of those decisions that he makes about making these kids go do this stuff by themselves. Because he taught them. I know, I get it, but he taught them how to do this stuff. And he was very reasonable with the arguments, like, "Hey, you left those things over there. Go get it." Now, would I agree that he should have left him to go across the bridge by himself? No, but he should have said, "We're going to go to the bridge, but you're going to go across the bridge yourself and get him. And if you get in trouble, I'll save you." But
no, but
he needs, and there's times when they're alone in the woods. They think they're alone in the woods, but he's there.
Yeah,
they don't show him, but he's there.
I know,
watching him, and I agree with it. I was surprised by how much I agreed with him and his decisions. Like, hey, you made a mistake. I'm not going to come save you. The world's not going to come save you. You got to save yourself. And I really was surprised about how much I agreed with that. I think that as growing older as an adult teacher helps me kind of understand that element of sometimes you just got to let them make their own mistakes and figure things out. Not too far, but just far enough where it's like, eventually, if they go too far, you got to help them out. But near the end of the movie, it gets to the point where it's like, obviously, even like everybody says, you're going too far with this, you got to stop. And I like that they defended themselves against him, his decision making. He wasn't going to hurt him, but he was constantly trying to tell them what to do, and they said, "You're crazy. We're not doing this. We want to go home." And at that point, he should have said, "Okay, let's go home." But he was very stubborn about it.
But anyway, at the end, it got
extremely intense,
and then he ends up getting injured, and it's sad. It's really sad.
Yep, and they end up saving his life, which is a nice little way of turning things around.
They end up hurting him.
They do hurt him. But then they save him after hurting him. But they didn't like, okay, they pushed him off a cliff, but he didn't.
They threw a rock at his head.
Yes.
Could have killed him.
Yes, and then he got, like, he kind of pushed himself off a cliff because he got hit in the head by a rock, and.
He didn't push himself off the rock. They pushed him off the rock and off the cliff and almost killed him.
I think it's called karmic retribution. Like, he did some things that he shouldn't have done, or lack thereof, like, he made some decisions he shouldn't have made, and he realized pretty quickly on, I went too far, because now look at me. I'm a wreck. And now I gotta get saved by these kids. And I really was surprised by how much I enjoyed watching this. It was very thrilling. I was very impressed with it. And this did terrible at the box office. It did $300,000 at the box office.
I know.
And it's so disappointing. Because this is a really good movie.
Yeah, it had some great moments. But then I was just so glad that they all came out alive.
Yeah, this is. I mean, of course, they're not going to let these kids actually die, no matter what.
No, but Kevin Bacon, I was really scared.
Yeah, I thought they was going to be fine. I had a feeling all of them were going to live. I'd be shocked, flabbergasted, if any of them went that way instead. I knew all of them were going to live. The only thing that really brought it down for me was that they had a couple too many moments where Sean Astin breaks into the fourth wall, where it's like showing him in the future talking about the story. And he goes a little bit, like, I just thought that the first couple times, totally fine, because you're telling a story. The rest of it, unnecessary. It went overstayed its welcome.
I don't think you've seen Deliverance.
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't mind fourth wall breaking stuff.
No, I'm saying, I don't think you've seen Deliverance. Okay? Deliverance is a major film about whitewater rafting and problems, and it's a film you'll never forget.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say that, like, with the fourth wall breaking thing.
No,
okay.
I was talking about something else.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen Deliverance.
Okay, it's a major film.
But did you have anything that you thought could have been worked on and improved with this film?
Yes. I think that I don't think Kevin Bacon could have been that injured. Where he's. That was terrible at the end. That was terrible.
I think it's definitely possible, but it's hard to watch. It's pretty hard to watch.
It's pretty hard to watch.
I don't think he would have survived the whitewater rafting at the end. No. He would have definitely been screaming in pain. No. You cannot tell me that. He said in the movie, "I was numb. I'm numb the whole time. I'm numb from the waist down." Like, no, you're not.
I don't think.
I don't care how much adrenaline's in your system. You're gonna feel whitewater rafting when you're going through what you're going through.
I don't think he could have lasted through this ride.
Absolutely not. He would have been dead.
Yeah,
he would have.
That's what I'm saying.
He would have died from the shock. The shock would have knocked him out.
I'd give it a 4.
I would give it a 4 as well. A couple points really just kind of brings it down. But in general, I was surprised that the soundtrack was so good too. You said it was very reminiscent of Huey Lewis and the News. It did sound a lot like him.
There was another song in there that was really rocking.
Yeah. And I was really...
It wasn't Huey. It was the other song that was really rocking.
So in case you haven't understood it yet, you need to go see this movie. Find a way to watch it. It's really great. It's like I really love watching this movie.
Whitewater Summer.
Whitewater Summer. I don't think
Kevin Bacon looks really good in it too.
Yeah, it's a great.
He looks really good in it.
It's a great thrill ride. I was really surprised. Think of it like Homeward Bound. If it was taken except instead of dogs and cats, it's people, and it's taken very seriously. It's a great adventure story. It definitely opens your eyes to things, and I really enjoyed it. All right, let's move on. Do you mind taking this one? Because I'm getting a little tired.
Okay, Point Break. Released July 12th, 1991. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, The Hurt Locker. And written by W. Peter Iliff. Synopsis: two undercover detectives, Keanu Reeves and Gary Busey, I never know. Investigate a series of robberies and determine that a group of surfers are responsible. One detective, Reeves, goes deep undercover to find out who the true culprits are and bonds with a group led by Patrick Swayze. Critic fact: Roger Ebert said he liked the film, pointing out its great action scenes. Gene Siskel also liked the film, but pointed out his issues, putting down the writing and attempt at humor along with disappointment with the ending. Anyway, I remember watching this film years and years ago.
Was it?
And I just saw bits and pieces, and I thought it was a surfer dude, and I liked watching Keanu Reeves in it. So I didn't really get to see the whole film, so I wanted to really see this film. I did not know it was such a detective film until we watched it. And we did see the very, very end because we were so sick of the gun shooting.
There was a lot of action. I like action movies. Some of my favorite movies are action movies.
I do too, but I don't want...
But, it overstayed its welcome a lot. For a movie that was heisted as, a surfer movie, this was not a surfer movie. This happened to have surfing in it. What really surprised me, and this gave me a real inflection point in my life, is that we were just talking about and just seen The Fast and the Furious, which is a film that I truly love and admire. And while we're watching this movie, I start putting two and two together that this plot of this film is exactly like the plot of The Fast and the Furious.
And Gary Busey was so overweight. He was so overweight to play an undercover cop.
Absolutely.
In Malibu.
He
was so fat and overweight.
He was the biggest sore thumb on the face of the earth in this story. Anybody easily could have pointed out, you don't belong with us. What are you doing here?
But he didn't play that surfer dude. He didn't play that. He played it.
It was so weird is that they made it seem like he was going to be... He was like, come on, let's go undercover. We're going to go undercover as surfers, man. It's going to be awesome.
And he's supposed to be like this great shot. Like he could shoot really well. I don't care. I don't care. And there was this intense scene of them hitting this house.
It's a drug bust.
Yes, and it was awful.
It was so intense. I was on the edge of my seat, and I don't say that lightly. I don't get on the edge of my seat many things.
You literally were.
This time, I was on the edge of my freaking seat.
And I'm thinking, okay, if he's on the edge of his seat, just think how I'm feeling. And, okay, and I'm thinking, I better console him.
I've seen so many great action movies. I've seen all kinds of stuff, man. I've lived through Game of Thrones. I can live through anything. That was more intense than half of the Game of Thrones episodes I've ever seen. Holy crap.
This girl was beating the crap out of Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
This naked girl.
This naked woman was beating the hell out of him.
She was half his size.
But that's not even going into it. The part that really got to both of us
and
was the lawnmower.
I don't want to do
that. Was the part where I was like, holy crap.
And it wasn't even a big lawnmower. It was
like one of those old school, way beyond my years lawnmowers. I was shocked at where this was going. I did not expect this.
Oh my God.
This was not what I think of when you look at the poster for Point Break. You think oh, Keanu Reeves is looking at the camera like, yeah, I'm a surfer now. And it's nothing. This movie is nothing like the poster. It is advertised awfully. This was shocking. I was shook.
One of the best things about the film, though, is when they jumped out of the plane. That was really cool. And they had talked about, when they talked about Patrick Swayze's life, when he had died and everything. He actually did a lot of his own stunts jumping out of that plane and did his own jumping out.
I believe that.
And he wouldn't take no for an answer. He'd just do it. And they say, you're going to get yourself killed. And he kept doing it over and over and over because he loved the thrill of jumping out of that plane.
But despite all that, did you have a good time watching the movie? Like, did you enjoy the movie?
No, I didn't like that movie that much. I thought it was supposed to be about watching the wave. There was only a few shots of them in the waves. I want to see cute Malibu guys in the waves.
It's like 10% of the movie. Most of it is listening to Patrick Swayze's pseudo philosophy BS, and most of it is just cop stuff. It's really
it's about robberies and detective. I thought it was going to be about. I thought I was going to see some cute blonde dudes on the beach.
You do see some of that, but you
don't.
Not nearly enough for like what you're expecting.
No, you don't.
And like
you see a bunch of it. Them, I saw one dude that looked like the guy from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I said, "Is that the guy from the Red Hot?"
Yes, he looked just like him.
And they were fighting. They were beating each other up.
Oh, it was. That was a pretty fun, intense scene to watch. Like that was a good fight scene to me. But like I was saying with like this, clearly, the Fast and the Furious clearly ripped off this story. But I say that, and I'll say this though, and I say this with no bias. Fast and the Furious does the story way better because you actually get to everything is more legitimate. Like it feels like more of a legitimate undercover cop story that doesn't feed too much into the cop situation. This is just it doesn't know what it wants to be. It really does not know what it wants to be. And I'm disappointed with it. I really was.
I'd give it a 2.
Yeah, I would give it.
But Patrick Swayze looked really good in it. But Keanu, I thought was really cute in it too. But so it's not for me. It wasn't a film for me. I'm not into that.
I give it a 2 because I would say those action scenes are. They're really impressive. But holy crap, it's not worth it.
I didn't want it for that.
No, it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it.
I wasn't.
In my mind, it really wasn't worth it.
I don't like that.
So
that's just not for me.
So it's just people talk about this movie quite a bit,
Yeah.
But it's just it just wasn't. It wasn't what I expected it to be. Anyway.
All right, Forrest Gump, released July 6, 1994, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Back to the Future, written by Eric Roth, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Synopsis, a simple-minded man with low IQ grows up in America from the 1950s to the 1990s, forever impacting the following decades with his influence on the people around him. So, the critic fact, Roger Ebert called the film not only great and magical, but profound. Gene Siskel also praised the film, pointing out how symbolic it is about America as a nation, reminding us of good and bad times.
So I wanted you to tell the story of when you saw this movie in theaters.
So I had just had you in May, and I saw the film in July. I think it was July or August.
Of course, I don't remember anything about this.
So my friend Mary said, "Let's go see Forrest Gump."
Wait, was it? You're talking about Mary, right? Like not.
No, my friend Mary.
No, not cousin Mary.
No. So that's my friend Mary.
Okay.
You told me to tell it.
I thought it was Mary.
No, my friend Mary.
Okay. No, you're good.
I know, I'm good.
Now I know.
My friend Mary said, "Let's go see Forrest Gump," and I said, "Well, I've got the baby." She said, "Well, take the baby. You can take the baby with you." And I said, "Well, I didn't want to do that." I said, "There's, germs and everything." She said, "Oh, it'll be fine." I said, "Okay." So we went to the theater in Gainesville, and right at the point when they're supposed to be introduced to going to Vietnam, it was a loud music and loud helicopter, and you were in my arms, and all of a sudden you started crying, like really crying, because the loudness of the music and the helicopter, and it was, I guess, Creedence.
It's Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son.
Yeah.
And then you hear the with the helicopters as they're going by Vietnam.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. And, and we were in a matinee, so it wasn't that many people, maybe, 20, 30 people. So I jump up and I grab you and I go outside. So I didn't get to see the whole scene, what happened. And then there was another scene during the Vietnam thing when
It's the big shootout.
The shootout.
Like the ambush.
The ambush. And so I had to jump up again because she started crying.
Oh man, napalm scares a baby. Who would have thought?
But there was the scene where he says, "I gotta go get Bubba."
If I gotta find Bubba.
Yeah. So I go out again. So I stand back in the back so it wouldn't be so loud by the speakers because somehow we were right by the speakers. And
but that was one of my first theatrical experiences that I don't remember.
Movie theaters. Yeah. It was Forrest Gump.
So, I mean, how many times have you seen Forrest Gump? Be honest. Like, countless. Could you actually count?
I've probably seen that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
So, I love this film. And I told you when we were going to watch it, you said, well, we've seen it so many times. I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing like seeing it again to really reflect on the film and how great it is. Mm-hmm. Because it is now been 31 years since this film came out. And we should really reflect on how great it is.
And today is July 6th. This is the actual to-date anniversary day that this movie's come out.
So this film is incredible. I think it's a film that... And what's really upsetting when we were watching it is that Lieutenant Dan did not get recognized like he should have been during the Academy.
I do want to say before we go into that I do agree that it's not only one of the greatest films of all time. I'd say that it is the quintessential American film. There's no other film in my mind that really does summarize America and its values and the good and bad of people than this movie. I mean, if you want to see a movie that represents America, I don't care about no Citizen Kane. I don't care about no, there's a lot of great American movies out there. Forrest Gump is the quintessential American movie in my mind. You can never go wrong with it. But going into it, there's a lot of great actors here. Tom Hanks, obviously. Robin Wright plays Jenny. Gary Sinise, I never...
Sinise.
Thank you. He was snubbed at the Academy Awards. He got nominated at the Golden Globes and other awards ceremonies for his role as Lieutenant Dan, which I'm very happy that he did. But I was shocked, completely surprised that he never got recognized by the Academy Awards for this role.
What's so amazing is that they talked about the how they went about showing how his legs were blown off. And how they had,
how they had to they did do some kind of CG to make it look like
and what he went through and his acting and what he went through to do it.
He looks nothing like
and
himself. He's a completely different person.
And what he went through and how he had to build up his arm strength for the role.
Yes.
And what he went through, and they still did not honor him.
I'm shocked. I really am surprised because he is such a sleeper, underrated hit for so many great movies. I want to see more movies that he's been in. I really have not seen him enough.
To this day, he still gives to veterans. He still, because he learned so much about veterans and Vietnam and everything that he went through from that role. He still does things for veterans.
He really reminds me, when I was watching him now, watching him play Lieutenant Dan again, he reminds me of a friend of mine that I met the last couple of years. His name is Darren, and I've worked with him a couple of times. He's a great actor, and throughout the movie, I was thinking to myself, man, I really could see my friend Darren playing Lieutenant Dan in his mannerisms and stuff. And it reminded me, Gary Sinise reminded me more and more of him and his personality and his portrayal of him. It's really impeccable how this man really, he dives into these performances. And we just saw Apollo 13, which I thought he was fantastic in Apollo 13.
He says in the role...
He says in the role, in the New Year's Eve event, he said, if you become a shrimp boat captain, I'll be an astronaut.
No, I'll be your first mate.
Yeah, but then he says, and then he repeats himself because he's drunk. He says, by that time, I'll be an astronaut.
And then he plays an astronaut.
And then a year later, he plays an astronaut.
So he knew what was going on.
Yeah, that was a really funny little way of showing that. There's no way that was...
They knew they knew they were going to play. They knew they were going to play Apollo 13.
Yeah,
Tom Hanks and him.
That was great. And what can be said about Tom Hanks as playing Forrest Gump that has not been said before?
And tell him about how Tom Hanks got the accent down as the little boy.
What's a nice fun fact is that when he was doing the filming of this movie, it was stated that instead of trying to get the little boy who plays young Forrest to portray his vocally, instead he played off of the young boy's accent. That way he could sound like the little kid. Instead, that way when he grows up, it sounds more like the little kid instead of trying to make the little kid sound like Tom Hanks. I thought that was a really respectful way of showing off as a character. It's not like something you didn't have to do that. A lot of actors would definitely go towards like, yeah, sound like me, but he didn't do that.
That makes more sense though.
It does.
It makes more sense that you still sound like you are when you're how you grew up as a little kid. You still have that accent from when you were little. And as you grow up. Mm-hmm. So it was smart. It was very, very highly intelligent. I
also did want to point out McKelty Williamson played Bubba, and he was so great. I mean, you can't... all these people, all these actors, Sally Field and Robin Wright, they all act like real people. They don't act at all like actors. You feel like you're actually meeting people who come from all walks of life, who are really transformed. This truly shows like the best acting in general is from this film.
And I would, I would love to see it again on the big screen. If they really should have put it out again. And they talked tremendously about this film and how it was filmed and how they showed Forrest in these different scenarios. How he appeared in these different scenarios.
The archival footage and stuff. I mean, it's so funny. It's just like with meeting all these presidents and the way they react to him, too. LBJ is my favorite one. It's like, he tells him, because after he gets shot in the butt, and he says to him, so you really did, get shot in the posterior, huh? And he's like, yes, sir. And he says, man, I'd love to see that one day.
Buttocks.
In the buttocks. He said, man, that'd be a sight to see, wouldn't it? And then he stares at him. He says, he just drops his pants and he shows it to him. And they're all like, oh, how could he do that to a president? And the guy asked him to see it. He pretty much just asked him to see it. And he laughs it off and he walks off and talking like he's disrespectful. It's like, no, Lyndon B. Johnson asked him to see his ass. He just pretty much did it. That was really funny. If we end up ever seeing it in theaters, I will let you know that I will, without a doubt, with no shame, as soon as that scene starts with the helicopter, I'm going to start screaming like a baby. That way you could drag me out, recreate that moment. Now, should I really ask you, what would you give this out of 5 stars?
5.
5. Simple. 5. This is a 5-star movie.
It's a 5-star movie.
Could not go any wrong. It's not perfect, but what's the point of pointing out? It's the flaws are so simple and like so minuscule. It doesn't matter. It's really is as perfect as it can be. So, last but not least, please go.
I'm sorry. I wasn't ready for this. Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, directed by Gore Verbinski Rango, written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio. Is how you pronounce it?
I think that's how you pronounce
Shrek.
it.
Synopsis: Unconventional pirate Captain Jack Sparrow is joined by Will Turner, a blacksmith's apprentice with a mysterious past, to take back his stolen ship and crew from the mischievous Captain Barbossa and save Elizabeth Swain, or is it Swan?
Swan,
the governor's daughter.
Yeah, it's close enough. No, so this is the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Actors are Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, Jeffrey Ross.
Yes.
Zoe Saldana. Yes. We didn't recognize Zoe Saldana at first. She looks so different.
Yeah, I forgot she was in this movie. She looks very...
different.
She looks very different from how she does now.
Yes, she does.
And I was surprised. I was very surprised. But she's in this movie.
But we recognized her voice?
She plays the woman that she insists that Jack owes her a ship. And you'll see it when you see the movie again. Oh my god, it actually is Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, but she does look a lot different.
So I've seen this movie 5 times at least. I love this movie. I don't remember seeing it in theaters at first, but then as we rewatched it, especially, I found myself being reminded of when I saw what really sticks out to me is that I've remembered the first scene, the very first scene of the whole movie. I remember seeing it on the big screen.
I think we went the first day it came out.
I think there were kids in pirate costumes, and it was. I remember some moments watching this movie again. I do actually now remember some moments that I saw watching this movie on the big screen. So this is what I appreciate about doing this, is that it helped re-jog my memory about some things. And then that year, I ended up doing a costume contest. I believe, or was it next year?
No, you didn't do that costume contest till you were in 6th grade.
Okay.
No, you didn't do it till you were older.
But I ended up with your expertise.
Well, I just took it out of my closet,
Yes.
kind of stuff, and made you
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Which in 6th grade, it's really funny to watch a kid with like a fake goatee, mustache, and everything.
I think you won the best costume.
Yep.
In your class.
That was great. So, I mean, I love this movie.
When I say class, like 6th grade.
In the entire 6th grade, yes.
Yeah.
So, I think this is a wonderful movie. It's extremely well done. This was a developmental disaster. Like, this was going to almost be scrapped multiple times. And it took, this film is lightning in a bottle. Thanks to the persistence of directors, producers to make this happen, you had to stop the man who ran the company from shutting down this movie. And what happened was pure lightning in a bottle.
$140 million budget, and they made $654 million. That's incredible.
You take into account, like, with inflation, like, it's easily $1 billion to this day. It's really incredible what they did.
21 years ago.
22 years ago, yes.
Oh, 22 years ago.
In 2003. So I truly enjoy this movie. Do you have any memories watching it in theaters for the first time? Anything that really stuck out to you, like from your memories of it?
I think we went to the first day it came out. You were so gung ho about you had to go see this movie. You were so gung ho about you had to go see this movie.
At that point, I was 9. I did not have an idea about who Johnny Depp was.
Yes, you did.
Did not have the proper
because you knew he was going to be Jack Sparrow. It was all big. Talked about.
Right, but like this was my first real introduction to Johnny Depp, was Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah,
but you knew that he was a great actor.
Well, I knew after seeing the movie, yes.
Yeah, no, but before that, because they talked about the roles that he had played beforehand, and what a famous great actor he was. You knew that he was a great actor. And you'd asked me about him, and I told you he did Edward Scissorhands, and he did all these other roles and stuff like that, and things.
Okay.
So, you knew he was a great actor.
Yeah. Good.
And they had his face everywhere as this new great pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept showing the commercials. And
do you think he would have been able to, like, do you think anybody else could have pulled off the popularity of Captain Jack Sparrow if it wasn't Johnny Depp? Do you think anybody else could have pulled it off?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. Yes.
So who do you think really could have pulled off the persona, the idea of Captain Jack Sparrow just as well?
You put me on the spot.
I'd just like to get your take on these things.
I'm trying to think. From 22 years ago.
Theoretically speaking, anybody could potentially do it, but I'm thinking to myself, because like he really was so influential.
I know.
Because of his unique take on it, on playing not a pirate, but a washed up rock star, which was the persona he was going for.
I know, but he was. But I'm saying but every actor has their own way about them. But I think that that's the beauty of acting, the beauty of a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Brad Pitt could have done it because he's a great actor. That's the beauty of acting.
It's funny because I think of you say that because he ends up in an animated film playing Sinbad, who's also a famous pirate. He was great as Sinbad in that animated film.
So I just threw that up. I'm just saying, if you're a great actor, you can do anything. Mm-hmm. Just like the scene when Dustin Hoffman says, "I can be short, I can be tall, I can do anything. I can be old, I can be young." And then he plays Tootsie. Mm-hmm. And he was a woman. So any great actor can be whatever you want them to be.
Absolutely. Do you think anybody else really stuck out besides Johnny Depp in this movie that really either surprised you back then or surprised you now?
Well, Jeffrey Rush was incredible. He was such a nasty, ugly.
But he was also very charismatic.
Yes, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that
He stole the scenes whenever the camera was pointed on him. I found myself laughing more and more at his facial expressions, especially when they think the curse is over and it's not. Where he just every time he rolled his eyes, he started laughing because he plays that off so well. Somebody who's just so sick of it and so sick of the people that he's around.
Even the sub characters were funny, and Keira Knightley was so beautiful, but all the sub characters were so good.
Absolutely.
It was so well done. The timing was so great in this movie.
Do you think anything could have been improved upon with not just the story, but like anything for that matter? Do you think that would have made it better?
I think the skeletons went on too long. When they were too long. To me, it was just too long with the skeletons. I think they were trying. You know how when you said Sinbad, remember back this old movie from the 60s when that it was from the Space Odyssey, not Space Odyssey,
It's 2001.
No. The movie about when they had the skeletons way back in the 60s, and they had the skeletons fighting the Cyclops.
The good old days. Like, what are those kind of films?
The Cyclops fighting the skeletons. I think they were trying to outmaneuver and have all these skeletons fighting, and I think the fight with the skeletons went too long. I just think it went too long. Just went too long. There's too much skeletons fighting. It just went too long, and then that guy going after his eyeball. It just went too long. It just went on too long. To me.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, what would you rate this movie out of 5 stars?
4. Because there were some scenes that the fighting went too long. It just went on too long. To me, but it's probably some little kids love the fighting, then they want to get into that fighting.
I give it a 4.5.
Okay.
I think it's pretty close to perfection, and it does drag on a little bit at times, but in general, it's really well put together. And the ending alone, I mean, that really sells it to me and seals it, where you see them working together at the very end, and you just can't recreate lightning in a bottle like that. It spawned a $1 billion franchise, and whether or not you like the sequels, it's up to you. Everybody's different when it comes to their opinions about these things, but I think it deserved it. It really deserved the recognition. Johnny Depp deserved the fame and out of it. All the actors have their place in it, and it does get better from there on too. So I really do appreciate and enjoy this series quite a bit. So much so that I got the whole series on digital because I really wanted to rewatch the movies whenever I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even I wasn't as enthused to watch the last one when it came out in theaters, but I wanted to see the ending, and I was really impressed by some parts of the last film, Dead Man Tell No Tales. So it shows my interest and my enjoyment of these films too. But thank you all so much for listening. That pretty much ends our podcast. It's all the movies that we had a chance to see this week. Next week we have a pretty big list too to check out. Hopefully I'll sound better and feel better by then.
Yeah, I hope you feel better.
But thank you all.
Lots of hot tea and honey.
Absolutely. But we have some good movies to talk about next week too. Summer season is not over. And
it's just beginning.
I hope it's not beginning. I can't take this anymore. There's so many movies to watch. No, but we have another at least month or two, and I've enjoyed watching these and rewatching some of these movies, and I'm already looking forward to showing off next week when we talk about next week's films.
Thanks for listening.
Yep, thanks again for listening. Yes, have a great 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Enjoy.